When we see an eruption on the sun, space weather forecasters will issue a watch. And this is much like a hurricane watch. When a hurricane sits offshore of Miami, for example, perhaps 48 hours out, we too can see way in advance that something may be coming towards the Earth.
As the storm moves toward us, it hits a monitoring spacecraft orbiting 1,000,000 miles away from Earth.
It's kind of our buoy sitting out there offshore, and that hurricane about 30, 45 minutes before it makes landfall, we'll get the measurements from the buoy. That's what the spacecraft does for us. That big eruption that left the sun hits the spacecraft. Now we've got the measurements of exactly what's going to impact us here on Earth, and we issue the warnings to give the power grid a heads up that the storm is now imminent. An interesting element to this whole process is that when the forecasters issue the alert, the power grid receives the alert, takes the necessary actions to protect the grid, and the average citizen never knows anything ever happened.
The number of customers who rely on space weather information continues to grow. As our reliance on technology increases, so will our need for constant monitoring of the sun.
This is Discover Launch Control at T-minus 1 hour, 59 minutes, 7 seconds, and counting. What they would call a Chamber of Commerce day. Picture perfect for a launch here on the Space Coast in Florida, Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, with vibrant sunshine lighting up the Falcon 9 rocket on Space Launch Complex 40, the Discover rocket on top, ready to be lofted into space to begin its journey to return data to Earth to help protect the planet. We would like to welcome Brian Olnick, who's Vice President of Distribution Operations for Florida Power and Light, known here in Florida as FPL. Brian, welcome.
Thank you, Mike.
Glad to have you here. One of the things that we've been talking about today with solar events disrupting our lives on Earth definitely is power. And you know, FPL is a giant here in the state of Florida. About how many customers do you serve, residential, business, etc.?
Sure, Mike. Here in Florida, we serve 4.7 million customers. Of that 4.7, about 500,000 of them are commercial, industrial customers, but that really represents about half the population of the state of Florida.
How do you prepare